Okay, everybody, we are about to get started here. 4:19 at noon. I just have one more thing I need to do. Okay. Okay, so happy Monday to everybody. Off to a beautiful start across the area, that's for sure, as we're waiting for the potential of some impact from a system off the East Coast. I was just checking to make sure it has not become a named system. We have Gordon, which has now been downgraded to a tropical depression. I'll show you all of this, but this could become, right now it's potential tropical cyclone 8. Basically, could become Helene. Although at this point, it's going to have to strengthen pretty quickly because it's moving inland. So probably won't become Helene. Let me see what they're saying. With limited time before it moves inland, the chances of the system becoming a tropical or subtropical cyclone continue to decrease. That's what I've been saying all morning, but thankfully they agree. Quick weakening once the low crosses the coastline. So let's see, the initial intensity is at 45 knots. So, okay. So it's below criteria. It probably won't become Helene, but either way, it is a system that could impact us here in the tri-state. So, which basically just means a few light sprinkles at best. Not going to be a big deal at all. Just continuing to make sure that what I've been saying this morning is true. There's not a lot of time between shows to kind of dive into the models because you're constantly like go, 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 which makes it go very quickly. But so I just want to make sure that everything's still accurate, and it looks like it is. So, all right. As always, leave a comment in this, or if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will get to those. But let's dive into the forecast. And again, I've kind of mentioned this, but it's just kind of much of the same. We're going to see dry conditions, warm conditions, very little chances for rain. So the drought conditions will persist. And again, we've been talking about this for a while. And the problem is that when we do get the rain, we get so little amounts that it doesn't make a difference for the drought. And then, or we get really heavy rain and it leads to that runoff, and then it's not enough to soak into the soil. It's not enough to really provide your well with any kind of significant precipitation. And it's not enough to make those waterways that have just become dry become back to their normal levels. I mean, we are in such a deficit that it's really not good. It's going to take a long time for us to recover from this. So unfortunately, we don't see anything that's going to improve those conditions anytime soon. So we're at 80 degrees right now here in Cincinnati. Beautiful view there from Clovernook Country Club. Obviously, we are dry on radar, but you notice that cloud deck off to the east, and that is that tropical system. I want to make sure that I'll be talking about that. Let's do, okay. So yeah, so this is the rain, and there actually are some severe storms there in the Carolinas from this system. I want to make sure I show all of this. Okay. Yes, so we are seeing some storms there along the Carolina coastline from this system. Again, not a named tropical system, but a tropical system nonetheless. It has tropical characteristics with it. It has very strong winds. I believe there was a tornado warning in the last hour. I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, no warnings right now. But it is a strong storm system and obviously bringing very heavy rain, potentially flooding rains to parts of the Carolinas as well. Here's what's going on in the tropics. So this is now Tropical Depression Gordon, as I mentioned, has been downgraded. However, is expected to become a tropical storm again, probably looks like tomorrow, maybe not till Wednesday. But becomes a tropical storm, goes out to sea, doesn't impact any land masses at all, not even any islands in the Atlantic. And then we're talking about this other system, which again is likely to not receive a name, but it is technically called Potential Tropical Cyclone 8. So it would have received the name Helene. Likely that won't happen because it's already weakening. So those are the two things in the tropics right now that are the strongest. Otherwise, nothing out there just yet that the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on, but of course that can always change. Hurricane season runs through the end of November, so we still have several months there. Burn bans in effect across the tri-state. Ethan Emery created this graphic, and it kind of highlights those areas where, because of the drought situation and because of in some of those areas, people do those frequent controlled burns, or maybe they, have a fire pit in your yard. Maybe you burn some sort of, debris or whatever it may be. A tree was cut down, you want to burn it. Unfortunately, in these areas, you're being asked to wait and hold off until either we get some precipitation, the air becomes a little bit more moist, because that's the other thing with the air being so dry. It also helps for this. It's an environment that's very conducive to allowing those fires to spread. So even just a used cigarette flicked out the window of your car can create, these types of situations can lead to a fire pretty quickly, or an out of control fire. So the drought monitor, again, just want to show you this. This will be updated on Thursday, but everybody in some sort of drought, from abnormally dry all the way to extreme and exceptional drought. And it's interesting, really, when we look at this map, parts of Highland County in the extreme and exceptional, you don't go very far before you get to abnormally dry. So abnormally dry is a 1 on a scale of 1 to 5. Exceptional is a 5, and they're not very far apart. And it's a lot of that is because of where we've seen some of these thunderstorms, and it's created that heavy rain, and it's been enough to keep areas of Adams, Brown, even Claremont County, of course Lewis County as well, out of that extreme drought or any kind of serious drought situation. So that happened, of course, earlier in the summer, though. We haven't really, most of us haven't seen anything significant in a very long time. Okay, so we do have a partial lunar eclipse coming up tomorrow night. It is also a full moon. The partial eclipse begins at 10:12 p.m. I should have put p.m. on that. I will fix that. Maximum is at 10:44 p.m. and it ends at 11:15. So basically you have an hour to check that out. Unfortunately, we are looking at some clouds, but I think that you'll be able to get some breaks in the clouds long enough that you'll be able to see that partial eclipse. So again, that's a partial lunar eclipse. And it's a full moon, so it's going to be pretty cool tomorrow evening. All right, what's happening now? It's warm. Temperatures already in the 70s and 80s across the area. As of noon, we're at 80 degrees in Wilmington, 82 at Lunken, 80 at CVG, 82 in Hamilton, 77 in Richmond, Batesville at 79 degrees, and 78 degrees in Batavia. So it is warm. It's not very humid. Dew point at 56 degrees. So that's pretty nice considering, of course, the time of year. It is still summer after all, but those temperatures, or those dew points rather, in the mid 50s. Winds have now turned light. They were at 5 miles per hour last hour. So still some pretty quiet conditions across much of the region right now, with not a lot going on, of course. Tomorrow, Reds are back in town. They start tomorrow. They're in town all the way through Sunday. 2 back-to-back homestands facing the Braves Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the Pirates Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And of course, Nelly is going to put on a post-game concert Friday night. So that's something exciting to look forward to as well. Tomorrow, the last Tuesday, 3-2-1 Tuesdays for the homestand, and that is $3 beer, $2 hot dogs, $1 ice cream. So we went on a Tuesday several weeks ago and took advantage of that deal, and a lot of people did. You know, it's nice because you can go with the whole family and doesn't break the bank, that's for sure. So temperatures will be in the 70s for first pitch and dropping into the 60s by the end of the game. Okay, so watch this rain that tries to move in from east to west tomorrow. So we'll see the clouds increase tomorrow morning. Those clouds continue to thicken up into midday. Maybe a light shower possible Tuesday evening, maybe a sprinkle. Again, the Reds game is at 6:40. I think they might have a sprinkle. It's not enough to delay the game by any means, not enough to keep you away from going to the ballpark. As a matter of fact, it should be pretty comfortable there. Not too hot, not too cold, and not very wet at all. Wednesday morning, maybe a few lingering showers, and then it just dissipates. So Tuesday and Wednesday, very small chance for rain. Most of us will stay dry. This weekend, we have Oktoberfest Cincinnati happening. And for the first time, I don't know that this is the first time. I feel like maybe back in the day, it used to be down at Sawyer Point and Yateman's Cove, but for the first time in a long time, they're moving it to Sawyer Point and Yateman's Cove. So the good thing about that is there should be some more shade provided as opposed to when it's on like 2nd and 3rd Street. It should also provide a little bit of a breeze along the Ohio River. You know, fingers crossed that we can get that kind of those kinds of conditions, because it's going to be hot. I feel like it's always hot at Oktoberfest. I remember one year, I think like 2 years ago, I was doing live shots, and just needed water so bad. And of course you can buy it, but I think like I didn't have my credit card on me or something. Anyways, it was a mess. So I was fine, obviously. But so yes, it's going to be hot. You're going to want to hydrate for sure if you're going down there. But they always have those tents where you can get some shade and some cold water. Actually, a lot of times, City of Cincinnati Waterworks is down there giving free water. And at Sawyer Point and Yateman's Cove, there's water fountains. So that's a benefit there as well. So it's going to be hot though. 88 on Friday, 90 on Saturday. Of course, they also have the beer run. That's happening Saturday morning. It's the Hootie 7K, 14K. So that is Saturday morning. Should be cool enough for most of those runners and walkers to get done before it gets too hot. But yeah, the high temperature on Saturday is 90 degrees. Let's take a look at kind of a wider view of that rain moving in from the Carolinas as it shifts west and tries to make its way here. This model going to overdo that precipitation Tuesday evening, but either way does show it dissipating the closer it gets to us. We just kind of miss out on that rain. Thursday will be dry with that rain staying away from us, and then as we head into the weekend, just much of the same. Rain stays to the east and to the west of us, but here in the tri-state, we still stay dry. Just kind of the pattern that we're in, unfortunately, just missing out on a lot of those rain chances. So that's also going to mean that likely the fall colors, the fall foliage is going to suffer from this, because you really need some precipitation for those leaves to turn. And you also, you need the cool nights too, but you also need it for those leaves to not just fall off and die, or die and fall off, I guess, is usually the sequence of that. So unfortunately, doesn't look like the fall foliage is going to be very nice around here. I do think in those areas where it's just abnormally dry, you'll have some better luck at seeing some of the fall foliage, but either way, not looking like we're going to have a great fall colors around here this season. Looking ahead to that 7-day forecast, again, remaining warm, remaining mostly dry, with just that chance for light rain tomorrow evening, continuing into the first part of the day, Wednesday, with highs in the 80s. We get close to 90 this weekend. It's going to be hot out there for any of those outdoor activities. Again, the Reds in town Tuesday all the way through Sunday. FC Cincinnati is not in town this week, and the Bengals are in town Monday for Monday Night Football. So not on this 7-day forecast, but they'll be on the 7-day forecast this evening. And overnight lows remaining in the 50s and 60s. So on both ends, warmer than normal. We should be 79 degrees is the normal high today. And we don't see a single day there where the highs are in the 70s. Now, as we look ahead to the beyond the 7-day forecast, it's still going to be much of the same. It does get a little bit cooler. We see those temperatures getting close to 70 on Friday. This is next Friday, the 27th. And then next weekend, the 28th and 29th, highs are also in the 70s. So it does get a little bit better, but it's still mostly dry. Even with those rain chances, again, it's going to take a lot of rain to make a big difference for that drought, for the drought conditions that we have ongoing right now. Okay, let me catch up here. Okay. Like I have caught up. Hello, Becky. Trying to answer any of these questions. When we do get the rain tomorrow and Wednesday, I don't even think you hear a rumble of thunder. I think it's all rain, and it's all very light. And we don't have any risk of severe weather in the next week or so, which is good news. You know, we want the rain, but we don't want to deal with any kind of damaging storms or flooding or anything like that. So that's good news there. Today, let me see if, where is, just trying to pull up the pollen forecast, because I know a lot of folks are suffering because of, because we haven't had any kind of rain to kind of dampen, I should say tamper down those allergens that are in the air. And unfortunately, I don't see any relief in sight. Again, all kind of related to that precipitation that we really need. Really quiet day today for sure. Oh, okay, there we go. Geez, took me way too long to find that. Excuse me. So yeah, you are talking about weeds being very high, tree and grass pretty low, and then mold kind of moderate right now. So some folks that may be suffering allergies, that is why. And you know, with the lighter wind, that'll help out, but still people are suffering for sure. We were talking about in our morning meeting about the fact that with the lack of precipitation, that some recreation places, such as if you're familiar with Morgan's Canoe and Kayak, those places may have suffered earlier this season and continue to suffer because of the low water in some of the rivers, especially like the Little Miami. I even know the Whitewater River in Indiana, they use that as well. That might be a little bit better. Either way, it's just something that, you know, it's not just that we look at our yards and they're brown. It goes so far beyond that as far as the drought conditions across the area. So we'll be, I'm sure, talking about that much more in the coming days because it continues to be such an issue around the area. And of course, even though, like I mentioned earlier, even though this system is not a named storm, it's not a tropical storm technically, that's a lot of rain and some pretty strong wind gusts that they're seeing there along the Carolina coastline. So still having a pretty big impact, even though it's not, you know, a named storm. It doesn't take that to cause some issues. So I think they'll continue to have, and I'm sure the surf is really rough there along the Carolina and South Carolina coastline too, just because that storm is just sitting right off the coast. So not good for them there. Okay, I am doing the 3 and 4 o'clock this afternoon, so I'm going to go prepare for those. Also have some extra duties that I'm working on as well. So I'm going to go work on that, and Steve Horsemeyer will be back. He's back from taking some time off. He'll be back for 5, 6, 10, and 11, of course, and he'll have your streaming show at 7:15 this evening. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining me, and I will see you back tomorrow as well. Yes, Ashley, I agree. Unfortunately, we just can't get it around. You can't buy a bucket of rain around here. So, all right, guys, have a great Monday, and I will see you this afternoon.